Hi, Namaskar, Pranam, Adab. Now this is something that has confronted me all my life from the time I was in boarding school, way back in the 1980s or even before, 1975 in types. And that I'm a Christian or he's Isai ladka hai. What does it mean? I don't know what it means. But my best friends were all Brahmins and Hindus and everything else. I never hung out only with Christians. I'm not one of those groupie type of guys. I always hung out with the free-thinking people. It was not important to me at all. And in fact, I read the Bible recently, rather 5 to 10 years back. When I was young, who reads the Bible? Who knows what this means? Christian, Isai, all that jazz. People just prototype you on all these kind of things because they need a conceptual identity to define you. It is very dangerous. I don't know who that guy is, Shiv Khera. He said when somebody asks you, are you a Christian? You ask him what he means by Christian. Then you're in a better position to reply. I in fact started this debate on Facebook and I made a post. Somebody asked me, are you a Hindu or Christian? And I said, I kept thinking about this, say, what kind of question is that? And then one day I tagged him. He's in fact one of my bosses where I work. And I very aggressively asked him, please tell me what exactly you mean by a Hindu or a Christian. I'll give you a reply right back here. He kept silent. He didn't reply. Yes, that was his idea of wisdom. But fact is, I understood he doesn't know what Hindu means or Christian. Now, for a fact, Hindu could mean anything. What is Hindu? Hindu could be an Aghori. It could be an atheist. It could be a pantheist. It could be a monotheist. It could be an existentialist. Look at Hindu philosophy. It covers everything. So Hindu doesn't say anything for sure. But Christian, unfortunately, how it has been positioned in this Hindu thing of caste hierarchy, one is they are betrayers. They followed the British when they came. And this is not true. Because when the Portuguese itself came to India, they found people already worshipping Christ. So it's not that Christianity came to India with the missionaries and only the British rule. It was here much before. But no, a lot of conversions happened with the coming of English education, no doubt about it. But it's not true that only people who ran after the British became Christians. And the fact is, even in the freedom struggle, a lot of Indian Christians fought for freedom. Take my own uncle, Squadron Leader P.S. Janarajan. He died in. So there are a lot of people who fought for our independence, and who are Christians and Muslims and everything else. So we are in a very uncomfortable position right now in India. When you start defining people with these concepts in your mind of this is Christian, so he's a betrayer, or he's a follower of the British. Not necessarily true. Definitely not necessarily true. Sufi puts it beautifully. No two men enter a church, a temple, a mosque or a gurdwara from the same door. If you understand what I mean. No two men. Because we all see the world differently. And we all have our own agendas why we meet God and who we want to meet God. Now, I just went out for chai. And because this is on top of my mind, I thought I'll share it. And I was sitting with my auto driver friends and I was talking to them. And they're Muslim guys. And they told me, Tum to Isai ho. That means you're Christian. I said, no. Even Jesus was not a Christian. And then I was trying to explain to them that, the first thing that happens to a man who realizes God's presence will be love in his heart. He won't bother about all this Hindu, Muslim, Christian. He won't be quoting all these books. He'll just have love in his heart and be a genuine person. Then I told them a quote by Kabir Das, which is, Hindu ko Ram pyara aur Musalman ko Rahman. Dono lad le rahe aur dono badnaam. Means for the Hindu, Ram is dear, and for the Muslim, Rahman. And they're both fighting and both are disgraced. And it's a fact. Kabir has been a great thinker who had a great influence on me because he was the kind of guy who united communities. And he had followers on both Hindu and Muslim people. And that's the kind of person we need today in the world. People who don't get sectarian about this whole thing, Hindu, Muslim, Christian. They are pack animals. They need some identity and they need a group identity so they feel comfortable because they have not done a self-inquiry. When you do a self-inquiry, all these questions fade away because you realize in your deepest being you're nothing. You're not Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Indian, American, Jew, Pakistani, anything. You are nothing. That is your deepest identity. Ask anybody who's done a self-inquiry. There is nothing. You can't define yourself. In fact, Krishnamurti commented, a person who has an image of himself must surely be insane. So these are all insane people. But as somebody else commented, be careful of stupid people that operate in pack. What is that? I forget about it. It's not on top of my mind. If it comes again. So it's really dangerous to put these conceptual identities. Because what does the person mean by Christian? I don't understand what he means by Isai. Now obviously he has a definition in his mind what Isai means. And as Franz Kafka commented, I don't like to be easily defined. I go with Franz on that. Even I don't like to be easily defined. You cannot define me. I'm an artist, I'm a musician. And most artists, musicians are universal people. They don't get into all this. There was a song, Krishna Allah, Chaya Ao Krishna, Chaya Allah, Allah. I forget who that song was by. I think it was, I forget these names now. Names are so unimportant because in belief, the only thing I can identify with is a Sufi. A Sufi doesn't care which book, which religion, which science, what has said something, as long the content is something he relates to. And that's the only thing I identify with. That's why I love the olden days Bollywood films, because they're all based on emotions, love and feeling, and we're all a product of what we were fed when we were young. And that's what I was fed when I was young, these beautiful Hindi films. I was not sitting reading the Bible when I was young at all. And in fact, they have a Muslim friend who was telling his kids to read the Quran some 3-4 times when the guy is hardly 10 years old. I didn't approve of it. I didn't tell him that's his child. Let him do what he wants. At that age, a child should be playing games, should be dancing, reading comics, doing all kinds of things. Things like God and all become relevant much later in life. Take me. Anybody who knows me from my younger years will know me as a complete atheist type of character. I was into drugs, I was singing rock and roll. Nobody associated me with Christ and Christianity. But a lot of people, I had a name like Chandran Christian. Why I made a even video saying Chandran Christian will now go as Yogie Chandra Tatvaraj. That was a phase when I wanted to make this distinction that I'm not a Christian. I'm not a person who sees life in a pack. Because when you say you're Christian, what I understand, you're saying you're separate from the whole. I'm not one of those kind of persons. I see humanity as one family. And that is strangely what all this year spoke about. Take Krishna, I'm the life of all that lives. Take Jesus, love thy neighbor as thyself. Take Muhammad, brotherhood of man. Everybody talked of that oneness. But I don't know how these followers have got sectarian about separate. We are Hindu, Muslim, Christian. So now I stay alone. But I have friends. And whenever I get an opportunity, I talk to them and try to explain these kind of things. Like, come on. Anybody who realizes God, whoever he is, even if he's a Muslim or a Hindu or a Christian, the first thing he'll have is a lot of tolerance and a lot of love. That is how you identify a real man of God. Not these fundamentalists who go around book thumping and shouting, we are right, that we know the truth and that is the truth. What is the truth? There is no truth. Silence is the only truth. Now I'm talking, this is also not truth. The only truth possible is silence. But since I'm blessed with linguistics, that's one of my skills. It's one of my talents in life. We all have different skills. Some are mathematical, some are musical, some are artistic, some are scientific. We all have different kinds of mind. Language is a blessing I have. So I know it. I'm using it to say these kind of things. Anyway, I'll sing a song about how I see life, and at this moment, this is a song that's in my mind. And this is what we grew up on and what I love. कैसी है पहेली हाय, कभी तो हंसाए कभी ये रुलाए, जिंदगी कैसी है पहेली हाय, कभी तो हंसाए कभी ये रुलाए. Actually, I don't know the chords. It's just on the top of my mind, and I've tried to just jam it. So you can find it's not very musical, and I didn't even get the notes right. But it's such a beautiful song and sentiment for the guys who understand the Hindi. That's what's more important. What is being said, not and other things. Those are also should fall in place. It didn't fall in this attempt of mine, but I'll explain the words to people who don't understand Hindi. This life, it's so crazy. Sometimes it makes you laugh, sometimes it makes you cry. That is the entire concept of the song. In that word, we have to laugh and cry with all these things of life and go about it and carry on. But I'm trying to state clearly, as I told my auto driver friends, I'm an Omniest. And Omniest is a person who sees the beauty in all faiths and doesn't identify with anyone. Cheers. God bless.